Hello and welcome, my dear listeners. It is with great pleasure that I present to you in this episode a remarkable lady who has played a pivotal role in my personal journey of self-discovery. Zarina Chopra stands as a Tao soul healer and a spiritual mentor, specializing in guiding emerging female leaders through the process of clearing karmic cycles, connecting with the profound power of their souls, and manifesting with regal grace. Possessing certifications as Tao Hands Practitioner from the esteemed Tao Academy, as well as being a certified Theta Healing, Reiki, and Kambo practitioner, Zarina beautifully integrates her intuitive spiritual mentoring with a wealth of experience in energy work and esoteric studies. This harmonious fusion allows her to offer a comprehensive spectrum of healing, transformation, and mastery in the art of manifestation to her cherished clients. Zarina is not only the visionary behind, but also the curator of the amazing Quantum Queen Rising program, a transformative 6-month immersion initiative. Furthermore, she holds the distinguished title of International Best-Selling Author for her contribution to the co-authored masterpiece, The Path to Self-Mastery. Away from her professional endeavors, Zarina finds solace and joy in nature, engages in playful moments with her family and beloved partner, and holds an affinity for all things sparkly. Now please enjoy. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I am delighted that you have accepted to have this conversation on true love. And as you know, true love is something that we don't see every day. We don't really see couples that can say, oh, I have found my true love, and that are truly in alignment with each other, with their core values and every aspect of life and what they want to create together. So my first question for you is, what is true love according to your experience in life?
That's a great question. For me personally, I was a serial dater, so I went through a lot of not true love. And that really gave me the contrast to learn and feel what true love really is for myself. And, being with Andre Michel now, the way that I would define my true love experience right now with him in the last 3.5 years is really being in true love with myself. So being really in love with my gifts, my abilities, my body, my health, my, just myself, my connection to myself at a soul level, and what I am and who I am and how I serve, and all the unique things that make me me. And that is what I feel my true love experience has really been, because as soon as I became my own soulmate, that's when my partner Andre Michel showed up. And he would probably define it very similarly, right? Like similarly meaning we kind of see it the same way, where it's like two whole and complete beings coming together to share an experience of love.
I love what you said.
Sorry?
Yeah, I love the part that you said, two whole beings, like complete in their own beingness.
Yeah.
right? And then coming together with another one that is whole already, and then basically merging.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's how it feels. It's like we've been kind of fed this idea that, especially in the expressions like, oh, he's my other half or she's my other half. And it's like, no, because then that means you wouldn't be a whole being if they were not in your reality. And what happens, I see, is codependency. So that's not really true love that you're sharing. Like true love is unconditional
Right.
in my experience.
Yeah, I have my thoughts on unconditional love
Mm-hmm.
because unconditional for me is like my husband tells me, I love you unconditionally. And I'm like, no, you cannot. Because if I do something that you don't like, so then you would maybe get mad at me or, say, hey, what's up? Or so I believe that unconditional love is just for a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter for a mother if you are a bad citizen or just a bad person or do any,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you became something bad for society. Like your mother will love you anyway, as if a partner would just leave you. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, I'm not saying always. I mean, I've heard stories of partners that, I mean, one of them goes to jail or whatever, and they are together still, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, that's only my thinking about this um, term, unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
That yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess for me, it's like unconditional for me just means like in a loving relationship, in a romantic relationship, I feel like it's more connected to, you know, feeling the love for someone no matter what their ego is saying and how their ego is operating and how their ego is taking over their heart and soul. So we can witness it, we can watch it. It might not be in alignment for me, some things he says or does, but I can witness it and still feel unconditional love for him, even though he's going through that
Mm,
process.
I love that. Yes, because sometimes, yeah, the it is like an understanding of what the other is going through, and like you said, their ego, and you see their blockages, and they see the blockages in you,
Yeah.
and but they still love you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. Thank
Exactly.
you
Because
for
that
that.
really holds, yeah, that holds a whole different container for each other to express, to be themselves, to fully just express and move through whatever healing process they need to go through or whatever transformation. Because in relationships, you're constantly in transformation.
Yes, that is true. So it seems to me that um, in order to find true love or attract true love, one has to go through a process of self discovery and just an elevated awareness of who one really is and come into balance with every aspect of life in your own life, right?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
So, um, when did can you tell us a little bit about you said in the beginning, I was a serial dater.
Hmm.
So that and codependency and all these things that you went through, can you tell us a little bit about why you were a serial dater and what blockages were there?
Oh yeah, for sure. So, I mean, why only came as, hindsight, like looking back, then I realized, right? They always say hindsight vision is 2020. So it's like you can see accurately why you were doing that in the past, but when I was going through it, definitely not. And so I believe that it was because my father wasn't in my life. You know, he was kind of just disappeared. My mom left him when I was about 2. And so then there was this new, you know, boyfriend that she was dating. So I was super young, like 3 or 4, like just really confused as to where did my father go, right? Nobody really had that conversation with me until I was older. And then it was all confused with my mother's pain about it, right? So it wasn't really accurate information that I received. And there's a lot of abandonment that I was feeling. So full of abandonment, full of like feeling not enough, um, for the masculine, right? Feeling unwanted. That was a big one. Feeling not desired, right? Not wanted. I always wondered, why didn't he come back for us? Why didn't he wonder where I was? Right. So those were imprinting on my subconscious. And so as I became old enough, let's say, to date, in my opinion, I was super young, probably 14 or 15. It just was a downhill spiral from there, like just going from one relationship to the next relationship to the next relationship, really um, feeling like I'm finding my worthiness in those relationships. So, but it was all an illusion.
Right.
Right. Until I really had to do the digging and connection with my intrinsic worthiness, the self worth that doesn't come from being the external world, right? What you accomplish in life. I was a high achiever as well. So that was a big part too, you know, what you accomplish, or who wants you,
Right.
right? How desirable you are to the world, either. So, or to men. And so that was really why I believe I was jumping from one relationship to the next, to the next. Yeah.
And at what age you were able to see 2020 vision? Like you
Mhm.
said, okay, enough. What is the thing that happened that you said, okay, enough. There's something that I need to change in me.
Yeah, I was in a codependent. Well, first of all, I got married at 25 to a man that I was not in love with, and he was not really in love with me, and I could feel that. It was more like just a convenience, you know. We had a business together, and then he just proposed, and it kind of was like, okay. But you know, so that experience was eye-opening for sure, because it felt like I had given my freedom up for stability. So I had exchanged an energy with this very amazing man. Like, he wasn't, you know, he was an awesome person, and but just not in alignment for me as a husband or as a partner in a romantic way. And so yeah, so we just realizing that I had given up my freedom of choice, freedom of just what do I want, where do I want to go in life, and all of that for this financial stability, really made me look deeper. And so during that marriage, I was really doing a lot of introspection and like looking at myself, looking at the choices that I had made that got me there. And so at 27, I left, and then I entered a right away. It was like so fast. I moved like a year later. I was already in a less than a year later. I was in another relationship, and I was living on my own, you know, and it was great. But I just knew that this was creating a codependency. So in that relationship was when I really saw how codependent we were on each other's emotions. You know, like, if I'm doing good, then he's doing good. If I'm not doing good, he's not doing good. And if he's not doing good, then I'm not doing good. And so now you're not an independent being, or even energetic vessel. You're a codependent energetic experience of yourself, right? Like, you're not able to hold joy and light and gratitude, or whatever it is, happiness, without, if somebody else is not happy, right?
Right.
So that was a huge eye opener. And then once I left that relationship, that's when I really saw that I need to take a break from men. I need to take a break and start loving myself because I've been so busy loving everyone else in my life that I'm not really actually loving them from a place of pure, authentic love. Because I have not discovered how to love myself from a pure, authentic place of love. So, how in the world could I possibly say that I love all these people in my life? I can't. Not even my own mother, right? Like, I wasn't able to love anyone authentically without it being an exchange of a transaction of some sort. You love me, so I love you, right? Type thing. Or you do this for me, this loving favor for me, so I do this loving favor for you, whatever. And so that's when I really saw, I'm like, whoa, I need to really take a break from men. My brothers were begging me to take a break from men too. Like, it was such a sign, like, because they were just reflecting back with what I already knew, right? I knew I needed to take a break. And so I did. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah. You mentioned something very important about stability, economic stability. And this is a conversation I was having the other day with my husband. We were talking about how women, most women, I will say all of us, look for a partner that is financially stable, right? It is something that we really seek for. And um, and that made me think about what we describe as gold diggers, right? And well, obviously there is a difference, yet I don't dare to judge because I understand the core feeling of, as a woman, because you are the one that is going to maybe get pregnant, you have to have something. We want to feel safe, and it is by nature, biologically, or whatever it is called, you want safety.
Mm-hmm.
And like before, of course, I don't know, in the cave or whatever, we stayed in the cave, we took care of the children, blah blah blah, blah, and we needed to be, the men were the protective ones. And I think that feeling, that inner, that is in our genes, it hasn't changed. So
Mm.
yeah, it is so important. And it is really for us to not judge, like, at first sight, right? Anyone really, because we don't really know what is the traumas or things like that that person has.
Yes. Yeah, this is definitely a conversation that's come up a lot in my love relationship with my partner, with Andre Michel, because, I would say that have been very stable financially in our relationship. And whenever I think of having kids or I'm like contemplating it, it's like the feminine experience, the physical body wants to rest. When we think of that, we think of like creating a little nest. We need this space. We need to create a little home for ourself and our future baby where we can have the partner taking care of us, right? Like you mentioned the cave. And so it's like, well, yeah, they were going and getting berries. They were going and hunting. They were going and getting the food, the nourishment for the baby, for the mother. And so that's very similar to how my instincts have been communicating with me. Like my womb has been talking to me, my body's been talking to me lately. And it's like, it's come up a lot for us in the last 3 years. And so, when I first met him, how you have that like honeymoon phase, right? Like he had an online business too. And then as soon as we moved in, he decided to end that, like close that online business and started to kind of be in a phase of like soul searching, like, what do I do? And this is where I mean, like, unconditional love is really needed during this time because all of my body and all of my feminine sides were freaking out inside. Like, what do you mean? You don't know what you want to do? Right here I am, so deep into quantum green rising, going really very determined and clear of my direction. And then my partner that I love is not. And so that created an internal instability within me, right? So again, it's always a mirror for sure,
Yes.
because he was bringing up my own traumas that I needed to heal, right? So it's all happening for me, and I knew that, but it's been a journey for sure. This conversation in particular around the freedom, um, not the freedom, the stability within a love relationship, that feminine masculine stability for the women is so important. Like I've really noticed that women are so especially in today's society, like we're designed to be so masculine, but we have to allow our men, our lovers, to go through what they need to go through to rise, to stand up in their step into their sacred masculine or their divine masculine, right? So, but that wasn't just an obvious thing that was showing up for us. Like this is something we've had to discover together as a couple over the last 3 years. And now it is so clear for both of us that I would like to be in my feminine, please. And I'm only allowed and able to be in my feminine if you're in your masculine, in that sacred masculine. And so even this conversation is like, why it's such a big conversation, first of all. So,
Yes.
but why is it such an infinite loop? Meaning, if I'm in my masculine, then he doesn't have permission to be in his masculine. Right. So it goes both ways. And that's why that's why the mirror of relationship is so beautiful when it's a healthy, loving container, because when one person is transforming, the other person has to transform. Right. Yeah. It's even just comparing it to my other relationships in the past, usually one of us is healing and not the other, or one of us is transforming and not the other. And that's when I knew that, well, I'm literally transforming out of this relationship because it's obviously not this true love. Otherwise, we would both be morphing. Like it's a metamorphosis, just like a caterpillar going and becoming a butterfly. It's the same experience from my experience in a true love relationship.
Wow, it is so beautiful, everything that you just said. I loved what you said about, okay, I if I really want to be in my feminine, and I'm allowing him to be in his divine masculine. And it reminded me of the symbol of the yin and yang and the balance in a relationship. If when when we are doing our part and the other is doing their part, so then that's when balance happens. And
Yes.
it's beautiful and harmonious, and just having this relationship, I'm sorry, these conversations with our partners, it is so important. And I really wonder how many couples out there are having this most important conversation in order for a relationship to really work, and especially if we want it to be long term, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Zarina, you are an accomplished Tao hands healer, and I just love that. So, for everyone listening, I met dear Zarina back in 2021, and I joined her amazing program, Quantum Queen Rising, and I had her for 6 months mentoring me, and that really changed my life and catapulted me to where I am right now. And I started to love myself more. And it was more of a self-discovery of what I wanted to do in my life. And I am so, so grateful for her. And Zarina, my question for you in your healing business experience, what is the main, I mean, talking about true love, the women that joined your program, what are their main struggles in life, what they come to you is people that want to find true love, or is more about the self-healing and transformation like I had in your program?
Mm. Honestly, it's a lot of everything. Like, no, I don't think that people come to me just for one particular area of their life. I would say that the main area is self healing for sure. But the way that I see it all is that it's all a web. So they heal one area of their life, they're healing all these other areas of their life. So a lot of times it's health, wealth, relationships. Those are the three major areas I would say. Like their health, meaning like their well-being, their connection with yourself, their self-worth, their self-love, like all of these areas of their inner health, mental health, emotional health, physical health. And then a lot of times they're all interconnected, right? So that's why it's hard to see if it's one or the other, like one thing or more than the others, but definitely relationships is a huge topic. So definitely it is one of our major conversations that does show up a lot for sure of transformation. Um, and then financial stuff too, like the blockages with finances and healing that survival energy within us, the traumatic parts of us that think that they need to survive and are in fear around finances, and really healing these parts. But again, that's all self-healing. So I would say the core is karma clearing, right? Like that's the core of quantum rising, is clearing karma, our negative information, negative messages, negative feelings and emotions around any area of their life. So, yeah, but true love is a big one for sure. And the biggest thing that I see, again, it all comes down to these women connecting to themselves, like really, truly seeing and feeling their value, and truly seeing and feeling their worthiness, really connecting to their soul. Because when you can connect with your own inner dimensions, let's say your inner self, you become magnetic for whatever it is that you would like to create. And if a woman wants to create a true love relationship, then that's just what's going to show up. But it's not going to, but along the way, and this is what I see a lot in the program, is like women start to feel amazing halfway through, and then they start dating, and I'm like, why don't you hold off another 3 months? Because who you're going to attract right now is you're still in the journey, you're still in the process, the transition of letting go of who you used to be and really embodying who you want to be, or who you truly are, let's say, because we all want to be who our truest and most authentic self. So,
Right.
and the version of them when they finish the program is going to attract somebody totally different, right? So very much higher alignment, right? So I see that a lot. And I literally do my best to encourage them, because I'm not here to tell them what to do, but to encourage them to just allow yourself to go through this transformation and then go date all you want, because it's a totally different.
And then you can choose.
Yeah. And then you can choose from a place of power versus a place of like filling a void of some sort.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that about your father.
Mm-hmm.
Your father left when you were very young. Would you say that all the women in your program have the same background in some way? That it's the relationship with their fathers, what has created this energetic in their lives?
Hmm. Hmm. I've actually seen some, but yes, to answer your question, yes, because I feel like women that are drawn to me are mirrors of me in some way. So we have very similar experiences. That doesn't necessarily mean that their father was fully absent like mine was. It just could mean that they didn't have a really great relationship with their father. But when the father is usually there in their life, it's usually the relationship with their mother
Oh,
that is affecting. Yeah. So yeah, so I see both, I've seen both sides of this coin where it's either they don't have a great relationship with their father and they wish that they did, and that really affects, they feel abandoned or, not enough with that relationship with their father, or they start feeling that with the relationship with the mother, like the mom's too hard on them, their mom's too strict, or not nurturing enough, and then they feel like there's something wrong with them. They're perfectionists. They've got to be perfect. They're not enough, right? The core of perfectionism is that you're not enough. So, I've seen both sides, and it's really just a difference in how it manifests in their life. But at the end of the day, the feelings and the heart are the same. The karmic entanglements, the karmic cycles of feeling not enough, the negative information, the negative messages in their heart are the exact same.
right. And we can we also include the societal expectations, like let's say people that are older, I don't know, older can be anything, any number, and they say, well, I haven't found my true love or a partner, and they just marry because family is um, pushing, right? Family is expecting, like, okay, you are old, so let's get married.
Mm-hmm.
And so they marry. Would you say that some of the women that have joined your programs um, went through this experience in their lives? And so this is societal expectations, basically.
Not so much. I don't see that too much, personally. Um, but I definitely do see it in the world a lot. Maybe not in my world a lot, but yeah, no, definitely I see and feel the pressures of society for sure. But again, these are the family structures. These are family units that it's the ancestral line that is coming from a very archaic, in my opinion, um, point of view that, right, of how the family system works, meaning that the women need to have babies at like 18 years old. Like that's very, very outdated. Now women are not even having babies until past 30. So, and this is more common. And so, there's no right or wrong way. I'm not saying that this is right and this is wrong. And, I really do my best not to be in morality, because at the end of the day, it's what feels in alignment for that person, right? Were they
Right.
feeling in alignment or not? Um, but again, if we're choosing from a place of pressure from the external world, then that tells me that they don't have that connection with themselves and their soul. So it always comes down to that inner connection and
Yeah.
really connecting with their intuition, really being able to be like, this is what my heart and soul needs and wants, and is in alignment with, right? Because then you can block out all of the noise, you can block out all of the what society thinks, what people think, what your family's trying to wants a baby. Like how many times has my mom asked me to get pregnant, or when am I going to have a baby? Like I can't even tell you how many times she's brought that up. Every year she says that I'm going to have a baby that year, and I'm like, yeah, oh, cool. I'm glad you know that. Like
Right.
it's just funny.
You know.
And it's just coming from her traditional background, right? Like she was born in India. She came here when she was 5. So she's definitely less, I would say, traditional than most Indian parents, but you can still hear it in those little conversations where she subconsciously, I would say, puts a little tiny bit of pressure on me. And then it's not on purpose, and that's okay.
Right.
And but I hear it, and I just let her know that, when it's going to happen, it will happen. If it's going to happen, we don't even know. So we're kind of leaving it up in the air. So it's just having that discernment of choosing for your own self, like what feels in alignment. But I don't see a lot of women doing quantum healing and quantum queen rising that are coming from these very, very traditional backgrounds, right? It's usually women that are more like open-minded and, less structured in their thinking. And so I haven't seen that personally too much.
I see. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So please tell us about how you met your true love, Andre Michelle.
Wow. Well, this is a fun story. So I was learning to serve this South American, like indigenous medicine from the Amazon called Cambo. Some people pronounce it combo. I say Cambo, but yeah. So I was learning to serve that in medicine, and it's a detoxifier. And what it does is it releases. It's from the secretions of the bicolor tree frog, Philomedusa tree frog, and from the Amazon, and it's pretty much goes through your body and releases like toxins and energetic, emotional, mental, toxic information. It's very powerful. So I was doing the training for like 9 days, and then there was this retreat that I was supposed to do my final exam at, and the facilitator, the curandera, we call her curandera, she was the one that was hosting this retreat for us to do our final exam. And she asked me, she said, we don't have enough participants for all of the people that need to do exams. Can you help me? And so I said, yeah, what, of course, and for me, I'm like, oh, no problem. We'll do soul marketing, we'll go into the soul world. We'll talk to the souls that need to be there. We'll call their souls, right? Like soul marketing. And that's what I did. And I said, just send me the flyer and I'll promote it for you. And so she sent me the flyer, and I sent it into one of these WhatsApp groups that I was in 2 years earlier, I believe, or 1 year earlier. I went to Jamaica, and everybody that goes to this festival in Jamaica, they put you in a WhatsApp group. So I posted this flyer in that WhatsApp group for all the participants that were there at that exact same festival. And within like 1 minute, Andre Michel registers.
Wow.
The one person out of 250 people that were in that group, one person, that was Andre Michel, he registers. And when I met him at the retreat, I definitely felt positive energy, and I was just in my feminine though. Like I took a year and a half off of guys, right? Like I did not date. So I was very much containing my energy, and I was containing that excitement that I could feel, like, wow, that, when you feel that fire, when you like someone as a woman, we get really excited. And I was really keeping everything inside, integrating that feeling, receiving that feeling, giving divine, gratitude for this experience, and just saying, trusting, like, if this is meant for me, if this person is meant for me, then please, like, allow it to be so, and that's it. And, that weekend we connected and we had lunch together at the retreat. And that was my first sign. And the second was that I was looking for a drive home, and I couldn't find a drive home. And then somebody taps my shoulder and asked me, do you want to drive home? I was like, yes, please. Who's in your car? Andre Michel. I'm like, thank you, divine. Thank you. That was my second sign, and so I felt it. And then a week later, he came to my house, and he told me that he'd like to get to know me, and that's it. That's the rest is
Wow.
history, right?
So
So
for
it was
how long have
quite
you guys
magical.
been together?
About 3.5 years almost.
Wow. Congratulations. That is so beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
it is quite the magical story, like you just said.
Yes. So that means that he was in Jamaica and I had no idea, at the exact same festival, and that we'd
Oh my
never
God,
met.
that's right. Wow.
And
Yeah.
that's just
And
how,
he's from Canada too, right?
yes. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah,
Mm.
just meant to be.
I know. It's just magical for sure. Very, very magical. But again, I had to be patient. I had to let go and not be attached to when am I going to meet someone, right? It didn't matter when. I knew it was just inevitable. So as long as I focused on myself for that year and a half and did all the amazing things that I cared about, all the things I love, all the things, and this comes back to your first question, like really connecting to myself that year for that year and a half and not prioritizing being wanted or loved or needing that from the external world and instead prioritizing my self-care and my connection to my inner child and all of that was so much more aligned and embodied when I met him. So I couldn't fall, some people say, oh, I'm afraid to like fall out of alignment when I'm in a relationship or when I start dating. And I'm like, well, that tells you that you're not ready to
Right.
date someone if you're afraid you're going to fall out of alignment, because that says that your internal connection is not strong enough, or even maybe you don't have the foundation, the structure in your reality to give you that structure, that place to where you do connect every day and, with yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you said something, let go. The moment that you let go and that you took care of yourself, that's when your energetics allowed you to find a new person and you had no expectations. And this reminds me about when we take a decision, every time that we take a decision, literally the whole universe, there's a saying, right? Conspires for you or something like that.
Yeah.
And for instance, in my case, it was not so much of letting go, but more of taking the decision. I said, okay, universe, I open my eyes. I get it. I know now why and where my blockage is to attract a true love partner.
Yeah.
So I am taking the decision of, but yeah, we come back to the same. I took that decision of taking care of myself and learn how to love myself,
Mm-hmm.
not only to find a true love partner, but basically for myself. See, I'm just reflecting on just what I said. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so powerful. This is the true love magic. Like, this is where the magic happens.
Yes.
It's not some like magical spell to attract a partner. The magical spell is what you do with yourself.
Yes, exactly.
you know?
So, can you tell us what are the three most important um, core values in your relationship with Andre?
Mm.
Andre Michelle, sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
Andre Michel. I mean, I call him Andre sometimes, so it's okay. But he prefers Andre Michel. He always tells me. But he's like, you're the only one that's allowed to call me Andre. So the three core values, like we have definitely talked a lot about this too together. But the three would definitely be integrity. Integrity is huge for us. Keeping your word, doing what you say you're going to do, things like that. Having integrity with yourself, having integrity with the relationship. Trust, of course. Trust is massive, huge. Trusting each other that we can hold space for each other, trusting each other that we understand each other, trusting each other that we love each other. Like, that's huge. Trusting each other that you were going to stay in integrity with the relationship, right? So it's all interwoven, these values, I would say. One connects to each other and holds each other up, which holds the relationship up. So integrity, trust, and respect. Respect is massive, because as soon as if any of us start to feel or hear or sense that the respect is diminishing, even just a little bit, even just a millimeter, if that's even a measuring unit of respect, but you can feel when the respect levels are diminishing, even just how people communicate, right?
Right.
As soon as I start to hear that, we will literally stop everything and just say, hey, the respect is out of alignment right now. And we should take a break and come back to this conversation
Mm.
when it has returned. So it's only happened once or twice, this type of level of needing to like, whoa, like this is a major value that's not being in integrity right now. So, but it's, that those three I would say are the most for us, is like we really, really, really respect each other. We really trust each other, and we have a lot of integrity in those elements. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Respect. I recall, since I was very young, I used to think, well, I might not love some people or like it, but I do have to respect them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, respect is, I will say, my first core value. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
have always thought about respect with my coworkers, especially. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And to finalize this episode, can you tell us what you do, where people can find you? I will post the links, of course, down below. But please tell us a little bit.
Sure. So what I do is I take women through a soul healing journey. It's a 24-week journey of karma clearing, really transforming negative information, negative karma in their soul, heart, mind, energy, and body, and transforming it into positive information, positive messages, positive quantum information. So it is based on ancient Tao quantum healing, um, that I learned when I was trained under Tao Master Zigong Sha's Tao Academy with his Tao Master teachers. And so it was, that's what I do. And I love it. And I have a free group. So if you are looking for more training, getting to know like what is this, or even wanting to try out some of these healing, some of these karma clearing practices that we do, you can go to Quantum Queen. Well, you can go to quantumqueenrising.com, but that's just going to give you more information about what I do. But if you want to try out the free group, it would be a Facebook group. The Facebook group is called Quantum Queen Rising, Awakening Your Spiritual Boss Babe.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's probably where the best way to find me. I mean, I'm on Facebook, of course, and yeah.
And you do lives every week?
Yeah, I do live trainings every Monday, live karma clearing practices. And they're very powerful, they're 30 minutes long, super, super simple. But the best way to connect with me is definitely coming into that group, add me as a friend on Facebook, and then we can start chatting in Messenger. Um, unless you went to the website and sent me an email and all of that. But the best way I'd say is the Facebook group. That's where all the actions is. That's where all the fun is. Every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, dear listeners, thank you so much for listening to my lovely conversation with my amazing mentor and friend, Zarina Chopra. Thank you for tuning in.